States. The U.S. had a 1.3 lead at the end of one rotation, but now Romania is within striking distance.
And a much more difficult vault than we've seen so far.
Yurchenko, 1.5 twist.
You know, it's got to be hard when you step to the beginning of the runway and you really don't believe in the equipment, which is what the Romanians don't, to give it your best shot. Now the pressure on the United States and Holly Weiss, and the U.S. could really use a score in the nines here.
She has a very nice exercise, a lot of variety, some very difficult elements.
And shows off her flexibility.
Nice combination here with a leap and then an acrobatic. That's too bad. And it's nowhere near all over for her.
Yeah, this is a big skill right here.
Better get her composure back.
This is one of the trends that we're seeing in women's gymnastics on this event, the full twist.
And right away, the pressure, may not be on Holly Weiss right here. She just wants to get through it. But Carly Patterson is still to come for the United States, and right now she knows she's got to deliver.
Now, Holly already has a point off in mandatory deductions, and she also doesn't get the same reward bonus-wise because she's missing these elements, so this is going to be a very low score. The U.S. will hopefully drop this score.
Dismount that will take the entire length of the beam. It's a tough exercise.
Yeah, you take the risk, you do the things that are capable of bringing in the big scores like that routine is. Sometimes it's just not quite there.
We have to remind ourselves that part of taking the risks of some of these more difficult elements is struggling through the aches and pains of falls early on in this year. But remember, these athletes are working towards the World Championships in 2003.
And yet there is a World Championships this year. Now, if the United States has to count that 8.025, then the Romanians will take the lead based on Stroescu's vault score of 8.825. So for now, the United States has given it back, but Carly Patterson still to come. Holly Weiss, obviously troubled by that number and what happened, the two falls. And there you see what the Romanians have done on the vault. They want to lose the 8.475 of Barak. Here's Sabina Kojakar.
And they should do that quite easily. She does a very difficult vault. Double twisting laid out Yurchenko, starts from a 9.8, really the only Romanian in this group that's been able to deal with vaulting since we've been here.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Romania.
Yeah, she had a little extra to give in this competition, let me tell you, because it didn't quite look the same in the practice the other day. Just to give you an idea of just how difficult this vault is, last year at the Olympic Games, the start value was 9.9. They've devalued it by 1/10.
And Kojakar gets a 9.05. Still another number in the nines for Romania. That will allow them to lose that 8.475 that we mentioned. And the United States looking for their first 9 here on balance beam. Carly Patterson, the Cajun sensation.
Had a chance to talk to Carly just before the competition, and she said she felt that her greatest quality was her consistency, which you'll certainly see on the balance beam, but she also said that she hoped that the audience, she goes, I hope they should do like me.
Well, they'll like this right here. Super difficult in a straight body position.
Beam is definitely her event. It's her favorite for obvious reasons. But she works with a calmness and a maturity that you don't typically see at an athlete of this age. And I just hope that she can maintain that and just hang on to that coolness that she has up there.
And the dismount, as we alluded to early, very difficult. I've never seen anybody perform this in sequence. An Arabian double front.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an element that you see the women perform on floor exercise. And when I told her that, you know, I really think you're the only one in the world that can do that move, she said, oh, cool.
It's just so remarkable. She tumbles. We say it a lot, but this young lady really tumbles like she's on the floor on this dismount the entire length of the beam.
No room for error. She has to be perfectly aligned with the beam.
And it's so difficult because you're twisting as you're leaving the beam, and if you do that too early, then you're off for sure, and it can spell disaster, but that was anything but.
And the biggest number we've seen today, a 9.75. That is huge for her team because they do not have to keep Holly Weiss's score. The United States retakes the lead here at the end of the third rotation.
NBC Monday.
The 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup at the Blaisdell Center in Honolulu. The United States jumped out to a huge lead early. On came Romania. They stumbled a bit. China's had a rough start and has never really recovered. The United States has just gotten a huge routine from Carly Patterson. And now we go back to the Chinese Huang Mandan, one of the two from the 2000 Olympic team.
Handspring pike front somersault here.
And a relatively simple vault.
So if you're watching at home and you're waiting for the score, it won't even be in the nines, and relatively, I don't know if there were too many errors at all in this entire vault. It just doesn't have the difficulty.
I have to tell you guys a really quick, cute story about the Chinese. I asked them what they wanted to try when they were here in Hawaii, and they kept saying, apple pine, apple pine. And what they meant was pineapple.
Over to the bars uneven. Here we go.
Very nice, Tim Deckard. Once every 3 or 4 years, he gets one in.
He comes through.
Andrea Olmeano.
Actually, Andrea was having some fun with some of the youngsters in the audience, too, just before the competition. She actually went up to 2 very young gymnasts to ask for their picture. Typically, you'll get them coming up to these athletes, asking them for autographs.
This is the final rotation. Last chance for Romania. For a moment, they had the lead. They had a chance to tie.
Yeah, you're not going to see a super strong score here. One of the reasons being that she had a lot of difficulty hitting her handstands, and that's one of the areas that the judges are really getting picky on.
Also, the dismount, the legs come apart a little bit in the air. And, of course, the step on the landing. But you notice the form like that. The judges see that as well.
So on the bars uneven, Olmeano gets an 8.725. The United States in this last rotation is on the floor. Holly Weiss, remember last time we saw her, she was so disappointed.
This young lady's been working on a new first tumbling pass.